Did y'all see what just happened? The director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, just dropped a bombshell report saying that Obama, Brennan, and Comey conspired to commit a coup against Trump during his first term. Can you believe this? Let's watch this clip together explaining the whole.
In 2016, nobody believed it possible for Donald Trump to defeat Hillary Clinton. When he did, it seems President Obama just couldn't take it. He convened a December 9th, 2016 meeting in the White House Situation Room just weeks after Hillary Clinton conceded. He ordered an ICA, or Intelligence Community Assessment, to functionally attribute Trump's unexpected win to the doings of Vladimir Putin. That Obama-ordered phony assessment was about politics, not national security or the truth.
To get more explanation behind exactly what was found, locked away CIA vault, and was found by the Department of National Intelligence, including its director, Tulsi Gabbard, let's look at what she said during this press conference. Pay close attention to what the facts are regarding this bombshell report.
At President Trump's direction and with the support and coordination with the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford, today we've released a declassified oversight majority staff report that was produced in September of 2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration. We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, they deserve accountability, and they deserve justice.
During this episode of the Vazquez Report, we're going to look and see what the left are saying and what the right are saying about this bombshell report dropped by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. The left-wing and mainstream media would have you believe that all this is a bunch of lies perpetrated by the Trump administration, and particularly by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is today trying to throw a political lifeline to Donald Trump by showing up to the White House press briefing today, standing behind the podium and doubling down on her baseless conspiracy theory that President Obama's administration engaged in, quote, seditious conspiracy by pushing a lie that Russia meddled in the 2016 election to help Donald Trump's campaign. A conspiracy so outrageous and dangerous, it drew an exceedingly rare rebuke from President Obama's office yesterday.
While the left-wing media and the mainstream media are both seeming to cover for Democrats, let's see what the right-wing media, in particular, what the Republicans are south of the DNI report given by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the legitimacy of an election. Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade. Investigators spent over 2,000 hours looking into how the Russia hoax was born, interviewing 20 CIA and FBI officials. And it turns out that the Obama administration doctored the intelligence to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the election.
As if that weren't enough, Trump let everyone know on the main stage. This is the first time he's ever mentioned names and said the word treason when it came to how he felt about getting all the information with regard to the Russia hoax. Listen to him speak with conviction here.
Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper, the whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room, right here. This was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up. They came out of the vaults. They were in there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about putting it here, but I do. But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one look, he's guilty. It's not a question. I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it.
After the announcement during the press conference about the attempted coup by the Obama administration, in particular, Brennan, Clapper, and also Comey, Brennan and Obama were quick to deny the allegations. Here goes a brief statement right here to the side of me from the office of President Obama. Then we'll play a quick clip of former director of the CIA, John Brennan.
Tulsi Gabbard, she may be impaired on the ethics front, certainly, but she's not impaired on the intellect front. And so I can only presume that she is doing this intentionally mischaracterizing, misrepresenting, and lying about what she has found.
From former President Obama there. He's saying that none of this makes any sense, that this is a distraction. What do you say to that?
It's the art of deflection coming from former President Obama, as well as his friends who are still in Congress today, and Senator Warner and Congressman Jim Himes, really all basically saying that exact same statement, which doesn't actually address the issue that was revealed in great detail in the over 100 documents that we released last week, and the documents that we will be releasing later this week.
With more documents set to be released to rebuke the whole denial by President Obama, they seem to forget to address it completely, was this fact.
That point to the undeniable fact that you laid out in your introduction to this segment is that the intelligence community had one assessment, that Russia did not have the intent or capability to try to impact the outcome of the U.S. election leading up to Election Day. The same assessment was made after Donald Trump was elected by the American people as president in 2016, defeating Hillary Clinton. And it wasn't until after that pulled President's Daily Brief document that you referenced that the Principals Committee was called in the National Security Council, and President Obama then directed DNI James Clapper to lead the effort to create this new intelligence community assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow attempted to influence the outcome of the U.S. election. So this is the thing that I think people should pay attention to, is neither the message from President Obama's office, neither the statements coming from Democrats in Congress today and their friends in the propaganda media. None of them are addressing this fact.
I don't think you realize the extent of how Democrats were perpetrating this hoax for years and years. There was a mashup that was edited that shows all the Democratic people and also the mainstream media that were perpetrating this Russia hoax for years. Let's look at that together.
Certainly say with confidence that there is significant evidence of collusion between the campaign and Russia.
U.S. authorities are seeing if those emails we just talked about are connected to an ongoing Russian disinformation effort.
This president needs to be impeached. I believe that. I believe there was collusion.
Mr. Trump is seeing more and more of the walls closing in on him, which is why he is becoming increasingly desperate.
The presidency is effectively a Russian op, right? You know, partisan warfare between Republicans and Democrats. This is international warfare against our country.
This is evidence of willingness to commit collusion.
Specifically, Willie, I think what it means is that a federal judge found that people in Trump's organization were colluding with the Russians.
This cloud about collusion with Russia will hang over him no matter where he stands.
I personally think it's over. I don't think there's anything that can be done that can stop this at this point. Cacophony, this gushing of lies, problems, questions, chaos that will stop this presidency in its tracks.
It does look like collusion. It does look like he's listening to Putin more than he is American intelligence. And frankly, I've never seen that before.
What plays more into the fact that this may have been all coordinated was when he answered reporters' questions about it, and Caroline Leavitt was to his side. Listen to how he says the Epstein list in particular created by whom.
And in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen, and I would say that, you know, these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden information. You know, we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of.
Was that a ploy to get them to call for the release of the Epstein files, knowing that he had something else in the back pocket, knowing that there was a bombshell report that was about to drop with all kinds of factual information surrounding it? These are the questions that I want you to answer, and I'd love to know your perspective on it. This has been the Vazquez Report. See you next time.